subhanahu wa ta'ala for granting us the opportunity to come to His house. We ask the Almighty Allah to accept our ibadah and forgive our shortcomings. Grant us the protection and khair of this day. And we ask Allah to protect us from all types of evil. Ameen Ya Rabbal Alameen. Things that Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam supplicated to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to seek protection, to seek refuge in. And these are those things that are very valuable things because each of them are so disruptive that it can take away the entire purpose of the life of this individual. And in fact, grant him failure in this dunya and in the life of hereafter. So all of those actions from which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam seeks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as refuge in, these are things that we also as believers need to develop to supplicate to Allah Azza wa Jal to protect us from. Because in this world, you have good and bad, and you have happiness and sadness. And both of these, they contribute a great portion in the life of a person. And when this person is not seeking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's assistance, then each of these things can be a means of this person's destruction in this dunya as well as in the akhirah. So today we will learn 4 things from which Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to protect him from. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu anhu says, كان النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول اللهم إني أعوذ بك من الفقر والقلة والذلة وأعوذ بك من أن أظلم أو أظلم. The Prophet ﷺ would supplicate to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that, "Oh Allah, I seek your refuge in poverty." Al-faqr. Now many of times a person thinks as poverty, the Prophet ﷺ lived the life of poverty. And being poor is not something that is a criticizing factor. But why Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for poverty. Al-faqr means al-ihtiyaj. When a person, he is depending upon other people for his needs. Poverty in itself, if a person is able to go through and bear it and go through its difficulty, and he asks Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant him patience, and he is happy with Allah Azza wa Jall's decision, and he is able to maintain it, and for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then of course it brings a lot of khair in the life of a believer. As the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, يَدْخُلُ الْفُقَرَاءُ فِي الْجَنَّةِ 500 سنة قبل الأغنياء أو كما قال عليه السلام. That the poor people will go into Jannah 500 years before the rich people. Those who have less money will go into Jannah faster than the one who has more money. Why? Because every single penny that you get in your life, you have to give account on the Day of Judgment. Every single penny. Not dollars, not hundreds. Penny. Every single penny that gets added to your treasure, it's on the Day of Judgment will be asked by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So of course, the more you have, the bigger the hisab you will get. The less you have, the less the hisab is. But over here, faqr refers to al-ihtiyaj, that a person is completely dependent upon someone's, and he's asking, and he is, going through su'al. And all of these things are going to contribute towards person losing his dignity, honor, and his Islam also. كَادَ الْفَقْرُ أَن يَكُونَ كُفْرًا. As the Prophet ﷺ said, that sometimes ihtiyaj and faqr becomes so aggressive that it can even lead a person to lose his faith. So that's why faqr is something, when it comes in the life of a person, it kind of brings him upon his knees. And that's why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking Allah that Allah save me from poverty. Save me from being dependent upon another individual. Save me that I have to take assistance and help from other people in my affairs and in everything that I do. Number 2 is al-qillah. Qillah refers to 2 things. Qillatul amal and qillatul mal. Actions being decreased. If a person, mashallah, was reciting 5 juz, now he's dropped down to 1 juz. That's qillah. A person was, mashallah, contributing X amount of money in charity and helping other people, now he reduced it. So these are anything that a person does good, and then after that he decreases, that is contributing of the qillah that he has. And this is why Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Allah that, Allah, I seek your refuge to protect me from having to go less in my life. Whatever you have given me, alhamdulillah, give me the ability to thank you, but do not take away from me, number 1. Number 2, whatever good actions that I am doing, whatever khair that I am doing, oh Allah, do not deprive me from it. Sometimes a person, mashallah, he is very active in doing a lot of things, and then suddenly something happens and he stops. So what happened? He was afflicted by qillah. He was afflicted by losing good action from his life. And this type of affliction, it's a source of disaster for a person. Number 3 is a-dhillah. Dhillah is disgrace. Person being humiliated. Persons being in a situation and condition where people are humiliating him and degrading him and disgracing him. So Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is asking Allah, and Allah Azza wa Jal, the reality is dhillah, the true essence, why dhillah comes in the life of a person. Dhillah comes through disobedience. When a person disobeys Allah, eventually Allah Azza wa Jal, He drops from the great status that he had in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He just becomes disgraced. He becomes dhaleel in the sight of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And if he becomes persistent, continuously doing that sin and developing more sins in his life, then he becomes dhaleel in front of people also. Allah disgraces him in front of people. Why? Because he was not caring about his disobedience towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, more disobedience in the life of an individual takes him on the path of dhillah. And this is why Rasul alayhi salam is asking Allah that, Allah, I seek your refuge from dhillah, that I want to protect myself from your disobedience and to be disgraced in front of people. And then the last thing that the Prophet ﷺ asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that, oh Allah, I don't want to be in a situation where I am oppressing someone or being oppressed by someone. Adlima aw udlam. That I am the one who is doing the oppression, or I am the victim of oppression. And I ask Allah to protect me from this. Why? Because dhulm is something, the one who does it, he becomes destroyed. And the one who has the action been done upon, he becomes impatient. He loses hope. And losing hope from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala itself is an act of disobedience. So again, to repeat the words, Allahumma inni a'udhu bika min al-faqr wal-qillah wal-dhilla wa a'udhu bika an adhlima aw udhlama. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the understanding, the ability to practice. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us amongst those who have been protected from these actions. Ameen ya Rabbal Alameen. جزاكم الله خيرا سبحان الله وبحمده سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك ونشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك ونتوب إليك.